Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. I'm looking at a book this morning from Edward Elgar Publishing Limited. They're an independent family business and they publish very high quality academic research work and papers both in economics and in law. The book I'm looking at this morning is a mixture, and it's actually got a title, Economic Models of Law. It's this book here. Nice purple cover. It's part of the Economic Approaches to Law series, number 44. It's been edited by Thomas J. Micheli, I think that's his name, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Matthew J. Baker. That's the book there, the spine, and then you can see on the back a rather useful note, a series of notes. Interesting velvet colour on the front for the the picture of the book. It's not quite what I was expecting, but there we are. Now what you've got here is you've got basically a whole series of articles. There's no index, first of all, at the back, so if you're looking for anything in particular you need to go to basically the front. That's the actual front page. And can I just draw attention to the series which is edited there by Richard A. Posner, who we've reviewed books from before. It's called Economic Approaches to Law, and it's basically a series, so he's the series editor. And it's actually described as an Elgar research collection. Of course it's published both in the UK and of course in America. What you've got then is the contents. You can see that quite clearly set out there. Starts with general, then looks at tort, contracts, property, then crime and the legal process. Then there's some acknowledgements, and then a very large amount of introduction, which you've got there, which you can see, which starts off explaining what they're looking at. Then you've got the collection of the various articles. The first one being from the California Law Review, which actually kicks the thing off, looking at unity in contract, in tort, contract and property, the model of precaution. Of course, the point about that being, as I'm sure most practitioners will know, when you're dealing with a case, it could have an element of contract and tort in it. If it's property, of course, it could have the whole lot. And then you might have a little bit of crime, a little bit of legal process. So this covers and looks at academically the whole area, and it takes the articles from the very important leading journals. And this is a very persuasive document. Depending on what you're doing, it's probably more suitable, of course, for the academic world. But we've given it a title, which we've reviewed, The Use of Economic Models as an Approach to Certain Problems in Law, or of Law. Now, the point about this is that the models themselves, it's a very favourite, it's been a favourite term, I suppose, for the last 30 years, modelling. I don't really know what it means at the end of the day, but a model effectively is a structure, if you like. It's a list of things about how you would go about your approach to a particular problem. I think that's really how I would describe it, although there are very highfalutin academic terms which would basically make it even more confusing, and I'm trying to simplify it. As economists frequently demonstrate, a fascination with the ways in which the legal system affects the economic system is very much to the forefront at the moment, and the reverse is for the most part equally true. Those therefore interested in the interface and or interaction between economics and the law should have their attention drawn, we think, to Economic Approaches to Law, which is the series published by Elgar. In particular, this new book takes its place as the latest title in the series, and it's a research collection, as I've indicated, I've shown you a little bit of it, of learned articles which for the most part use mathematical models accompanied by commentary and explanatory text to provide the readers with an enhanced understanding of the nature and function of law. And a mathematical model, I think, can be helpful. Just remember, Lord Denning actually read maths before he read law at Oxford, so whether he's your favourite or not, mathematics does, and the model does come in as into play quite nicely. And I'm sure those of you who do property law will be well aware of some of the interesting, intricate concepts there from the Law of Property Act. Overall then, the 22 articles reveal the ways in which modelling techniques can be used to formulate important questions and ultimately reveal the answers. And these essays and articles are, we would assume, the pick of the crop in what's a specialised area, judiciously selected by the editors from most of the law and economics literature published since the 1970s. And selection, of course, is the key word in the 21st century. You've got so much available on the market that you've really got to be selective and know what point you're making and where you're going. It's the same with case law when we're in court. It's the same with the authorities you're going to use. Many classic essays, explain the editors, include economic models but are devoid of mathematics, thankfully. Current work does, however, use mathematical models, and these make up the bulk of the volume. So if you're not too happy with maths, this may not be a book for you, but I think you'll find it reasonably well explained once you get into it. And of course the trouble with maths is people run a mile because they're afraid of it, when it's actually not that difficult at the end of the day. It's very badly taught though. So we took as our charge, state the editors, the assembly of a set of papers which we believe either reflect state-of-the-art modelling techniques or are especially successful or innovative in explicating some particular legal issue or problem. I think we understand that. With the needs of young scholars very much in mind, they add, they have included papers that, even though not widely read, should be read. And that, of course, will assist you if you're doing a particular thesis or an element of a thesis. So academically, that's, again, it's a high style here and it's very useful. For the convenience, therefore, of the busy reader, the articles are grouped under the relevant areas of law, including tort, contract, property, crime and the legal process, which is the main content section. The section on property, for a number of reasons explained in the book's introduction, takes up almost a third of the book's content. That's understandable too, because of the intricacy. The law of property is one of the most difficult papers you do in the LLB, as I'm sure you all know, and therefore it's something that, again, needs to have a lot of detail for explanation purposes. Let me conclude by saying the extent of the research and coordination required to produce a scholarly compilation like this is astounding. There's little doubt that the book will make life just a touch easier for students and academics in economics and in law, as well as, say, modellers. Yes. The publication date is cited as at 2014. I'll just remind you of the book again. Nice cover there. And then the back, you've got quite a lot of detail. Then you've got the articles. You can see here, I'm going to just give you some mathematics. There we go. A little bit of a formula there. You do get some more interesting stuff. I mean, there's quite interesting points concerning, I'm just going to find one of them here, copyright law, which is a very popular, I mean, in the old days it was the law of tort. It's not copyright law in its own right, but of course, again, you've got a whole range of other things. These are, again, various points that are set out in very great detail. And then just to give you an idea, again, you've got quite a lot of the mathematical stuff. I'm very pleased. I'd like to thank Mr. Michelli and Mr. Baker. Not quite sure who they are, actually. I don't have a great deal of information about them, but they've clearly come together and brought this book out. I'm not sure if they say anything on the back. In fact, they're both, Professor Michelli is Professor of Economics at the University of Connecticut, and Matthew J. Baker is Associate Professor of Economics, Hunter College, City University of New York, United States of America. So thank you to both of them and to Elgar. You're up to your best standards possible at Edward Elgar, so thank you all very much. Do have a look at our review, which is on the web and in some of the journals as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.